interdisciplinary. But I did ask someone who
Yeah, I know. See that? I know. Right, and now you. Yeah.
Oh, but I have another.
People are doing something similar. So good to know. Related to the Spotify, they have, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm much diversified, but I haven't ever done that much in this.
Hey, sorry, can I have your attention for a second? We're going to do an AI safety panel in UVA over there. It's going to be at 6, and I thought since this is quite close to your research area, you might be interested. I'll leave a flyer here. It's the room is D1. Actually, just have a look at the flyer. I'll hang it outside the room. Stop by if you.
Thank you. Okay. So we're ready to start? Please take a seat. Take your seats. Okay, thank you for joining us. Before we start, I would like to spend a few moments of silence for the people who died and those who are suffering in Israel and Gaza. Thank you. So you're here, and most of us probably believe that AI is a GPT, not a generative pre-trained transformer, but a general purpose technology. So something that will affect all aspects of human activities. And we are asking today how to balance its development with its impacts on society, which could be positive, negative, or maybe disruptive or distortive. Foundation models have taken the stage by surprising for their unexpected abilities, and therefore raising both expectations and fears. The research community itself is quite divided, taking opposite positions on main issues. This is a pity because this may cause confusion in both the public opinion and the policymakers about which direction to take. The debate we are trying to address some of these issues, of course, will not solve them, but should provide an opportunity for us to listen to the arguments of others with an open mind. One important issue is how large language models will evolve, in particular on whether to keep building bigger and bigger ones or not. Dario Amodei led the development of GPT-3 at OpenAI based on the empirical scaling law of for language models performance. And bigger models might also lead to emerging abilities which appear only with scale. Others dispute this approach and claim that smaller models might achieve equivalent power and foster wider adoption. This is a critical decision, since shooting for larger models involves larger economical costs and hence might lead to further concentration and digital divide between those who have those resources and those who don't. So the first question that we are going to discuss is whether we should continue advancing foundation models or suspend their development. But you been shown that you can vote on these 5 issues online. So and if you have already done so, I think we can just look at the current situation with the votes and see if, and then we will see what happens after the vote. So I will show you the vote that we received so far, and then we clear and we start again. Okay, it should be.
It's important to share the entire data.
Share the data? Okay. Yeah, share. Okay. So here, results so far. The first question is, should we continue advancing foundation models or suspend their development? And so far we got 50 votes, 51. Suggesting to continue. 2, 3 temporary suspend, and only 1 to suspend. So that's interesting, because in the open letter we see the very large amount of signatures asking to suspend. So here we see the opposite. And the second question: do large language models understand language, and can they be made reliable? Here, there's almost, we say, some kind of a tie. So we have 9 that agree, 6 that disagree, and 41 say agree with some remarks. Then we have, should we regulate AI applications or AI corporations? And here again, we have almost a tie. So we have 16 for regulating companies, 10 for regulating AI application, and 28 to regulate both. Next question is, are openly licensed models or efficiently fine-tuning approaches sufficient for democratized AI? And here we have that a fairly large number of people, 22, say no, not enough. 27, 28 or say that sometimes they are limited cases, and only 5 believe that that would be enough. Okay, so. And the last question is, can guardrails be incorporated within model training? And here possibly have a tie. So 10 say yes, 10 say no, and 34 somehow. So this is still, the jury is still out on this issue. So this is how we stand so far. So I now will clear these numbers, and we have a debate, and then we will have the opportunity to vote again to see what if the debaters were able to make you change your mind. So now let's move to the first. What happened?
Are you trying to stop sharing?
No. Yes, I need to stop sharing it. Okay. So let's start with the debate. So for the first issue, we only have one debater, who is Moshe Vardi. And so it's back to so he's a Georgia Distinguished Service Professor in Computational Engineering at the Rice University, and recipient of several awards, including the ACM Sigat Gödel Prize, the ACM Kanellakis Award, the ACM Sigmod Code Award, and a few more. He's also a senior editor of the communication of the ACM, which has conducted a survey on the signatories of the open letter by the Future of Life Institute to pose the training of AI system more powerful than GPT-4, sorry. So he himself signed the letter, so he is in an unusual position that he can argue for both in favor and against it. So I'll give the floor to Moshe so he can provide us with these arguments in the two opposite directions. Thank you, Moshe.
I think perhaps he's muted.
Moses, you're muted. Can you unmute him?
Yes,
I can hear you
yes,
now.
okay, I'm unmuted.
Okay, yes, now we hear you.
Okay, let me go ahead and debate with myself. So the pause letter was issued about just about 7 months ago. It was issued by was sponsored by the Future of Life Institute. It was had a large number of signatories. Over 33,000 people signed the letter, including many luminaries. I signed the letter. I'll come back to that. And the letter called for a company to pause the development of language models more powerful than ChatGPT for 6 months. That was the letter. And, you know, really, I think it received a lot of publicity in the media, not because I signed it, but because Elon Musk probably attracted lots of attention, more than anyone else. Elon Musk also immediately went to start his own AI company, but that's a different story. So what was the argument of the letter? The letter went and laid an argument. What was the argument of the letter? Okay, I need to go into presentation. Okay, better. What was the argument of the letter? The argument was that AI system, advanced AI system pose societal risk. I'm quoting here from the letter, AI system with human competitive intelligence cause profound risk to society and humanity. I mean, further statement talk about, you know, really human extinction, that level of risk. And then they say powerful AI system should be developed only once we are confident their effect will be positive and the risk will be manageable. Okay, that was the argument. And why was the pause? The pause was proposed as a remedy to this risk. And what are we going to do within these 6 months? One was to make sure the technology is safer. So the AI labs and experts should develop safety protocol, share safety protocol. And the AI system and we should be able to rigorously audit and appoint outside experts to review the audits of such systems so they do not pose risk. So this is one thing. This is in some sense to the R&D community to come up with safer technology. 6 months were supposed to give us time to develop safer technology. And in parallel, the 6 months should be able to work with the developer and government policymaker to develop governance. There should be regulation governing the use of AI system. And again, we can debate whether the corporations or the technology, but we need to have a regulatory framework in place. So that was the argument that, wait a minute, guys, this is very, very powerful technology. It's emerging, it's developing faster than anyone could imagine. And it's actually true. If you think, I mean, ChatGPT came up it was really literally a bombshell. You know, people got, oh my goodness, we did not see this coming. Nobody from the community saw this coming. So let's slow down. Let's make sure that we have safe technology and we have the framework within we can develop this safe technology. So that was the pro argument. Now, two students from MIT, Isabella Strukman and Sophie Kupitz, went and decided to actually ask the people who signed, why did they sign? And they published the article, and then we covered it in a blog in the in CSCM, why did they sign? And so once they start interviewing the people, they realized there was much more nuance under the signatories. Though most interviews align with the letter spirit, many neither anticipate nor advocated for a pause, nor they primarily considered by AI's existential risk. So why did they sign the letter? They want to tell developer, look, we published this letter. This gives the developer a way out. They can tell the companies, wait a minute, we need to slow down. They can apply pressure from within. And I mean, so far, if you look prior to that, the history of pressure from within was not very effective. I mean, if you look, for example, at Google, anybody who voiced concern from within the company about safety was basically booted out. So they were hoping that this letter would give the people inside a bit more leverage. Also, it was time to raise the temperature for regulator to say, guys, this is moving very fast. It's time to act. It did get their attention. This was the idea. It's time to act. And even to the public at large, it got lots of public attention. The public, look, there is a new technology is moving very fast. It's very, very powerful. The hope is that the public will put pressure on companies, on governments to put their affair in order, so to speak. Well, clearly there was about this idea that once you shout fire in the theater, everybody will, in orderly manner, will respond rationally. That was a way too optimistic. Just a month ago in the Wired magazine, 6 months ago, Elon Musk called for a pause on AI. Instead, development sped up. So we see no signs that the letter, other than getting lots of publicity, really slowed down the development. Maybe it has hastened. There are more discussion now about regulation, but they're moving very slowly. 6 months clearly was not enough time. Now, I was one of the signatories of the letters. And so I was, in fact, one of the interviewees for this CSCM article. So in the second half of this debate, I will give you my perspective, which is not exactly arguing against the pause, but arguing that this focus on the technology and is somewhat misguided. So I want to start with a quote, quoting Edward Wilson, a very noted biologist who passed away just a couple of years ago. And he said, the true problem of humanity is the following. We have Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and technology of gods. And I'm going to paraphrase it. I would say today's technology is taking advantage of our Paleolithic emotions and medieval institutions. Today, technology has become predatory technology. And I'm not the first one to say that. I mean, you can go, I mean, voices start rising even before ChatGPT. In 2019, several people, I was including among them, wrote the Vienna Manifesto on Digital Humanism. And it says, I encourage you to read it. The key sentence to me is we must shape technology in accordance with human values and needs, sort of allowing technologies to shape humans. BMW used to have the slogan, the ultimate driving machines. And now they feel that the business is being threatened by autonomous vehicles. So the new slogan is, do not be driven by technology, drive it. And I think this is an appropriate metaphor for our society. We should not be driven by technology, we should drive it. Now, I want to go back a decade ago, more than a decade ago, to the book by Nick Bostrom, who wrote a book called Superintelligence, and he came up with the thought experiments about the paperclip maximizer. So he says, suppose we have a super intelligent agent, and you tell him, make paperclips. And so I said, okay, the agent would say, I would make as many paperclips as possible. And because he's super intelligence, it will figure out essentially how to convert the whole solar system into a paperclip factory. I think Nick Bostrom missed something that's going on. We already have such super intelligent agents. They are called corporations. Why the super intelligence? Because they are able to marshal huge number of human brains towards a single goal. So they are more intelligent than any one of us separately. And they're maximizing. Well, they're not maximizing necessarily pay-per-click production, but they're maximizing profits. It's kind of essentially the same thing. So if you look what happened with climate change, the super intelligent oil and gas corporations, Exxon knew about human-caused climate change in the 1970s, and they obfuscated, and their own scientists told them about it. And they not only disclosed it, they fought against the spread disinformation for decades against this idea. So our big risk is not the technology per se, but what will profit maximizing corporations will do with this technology. That's my view. And so what are the remedies? One, we already have a remedy. It's called antitrust. The problem is right now, these tech corporations are simply too large and too powerful. And I refer you to two books that have been published in the last few years. One was in 2018, The Curse of Bigness, Antitrust in the New Gilded Age by Tim Wu. And 2 years later, Antitrust, Break Them Up, Recovering Our Freedom from Big Ag, Big Tech, and Big Money by Zephyr Teachout. And in particular, Zephyr makes the argument that we should not interpret antitrust just as a pro-consumer issue. Because people say now, what's the problem? You know, Gmail is free, Facebook is free. We should think about power and democracy. And what happened to democracy when certain players gets too big and too powerful? Kate Crawford, who wrote the Atlas of AI, said in 2021, stop talking about AI ethic, it's time to talk about power. So one instrument that we have is antitrust. But I want to bring another issue, which we rarely think about, and we don't think about it because the tech companies don't want us to think about it. And these are click-through contracts. So if you think about how we live our life, we have two legal regimes. Normally, the legal regime, we are governed by laws passed by legislatures. Are they perfect? No, they're far from perfect. We all know that. Big money plays a role, but nevertheless, there is a democratic process. It's very imperfect. It just, remember what Churchill said, it's better than all other systems. But when you come to technology, the standard legal framework has been suspended. Instead, there is the shadow legal system of click-through contracts. And you don't realize it because we are just made to click through. New York Times calculated that if you were to read all contracts of the technology you use in 1 year, you'll be spending 2.5 months just reading contracts. And in particular, for example, tech companies have no liability. Why? Because you have agreed to waive their liability. So all this, they don't worry about safety of AI products because they're not liable, because you have signed away your rights to sue them in a case of damages. So it's time to tear away the shadow legal system. And I propose a very, very simple law. It would say all click-through contracts, past, present, and future, are hereby nullified. So I would argue that I would paraphrase Kate Crawford. Stop talking about AI technology. It's time to talk about power. Now, I'm overstating the case a little bit. Technology is important. Talking about safety is important. I'm not trying to say this is not important. But the real issue that I view is, it's not just the technology, but the power of corporation who wield this technology with no accountability and no liability. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any question to Moshe Vardi? Before we move to the next. Yes,
Speak out loud.
you should be, yes.
I think the microphone should
Should-
pick it out,
should
but
take it.
let's try.
Try.
Thank you for the great talk. I think like a lot of the people who focus on existential threat, and like I collaborate with a lot of these people as well. So I really love the community in general, but I'm slightly concerned that like we're talking too much about disrupting the existing system, and we're not talking enough about the positives of the system. Like it's definitely possible that of like what AI can bring to the community. I come from India. There's like the possibility of AI for improving education is huge. I would also like to maybe gather your thoughts on the idea of the positive impacts and how you expect if disruption might pull us back from the positive impacts in the current age because we're too concerned about the negative impacts. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes. So there's no question that technology has incredible positive impacts. Just consider the fact that I can participate in your AI debate from very far away, sitting in my own home. This is not just a matter of convenience. Think what happened during the pandemic. Imagine that we had a pandemic without the internet. What would have happened? Either we would have had many, many more millions of people have died, or we have much, much worse economic damage. However, this idea that essentially, I'll paraphrase what you're saying, regulation will stifle innovation. And the answer is, regulation, if you have children, then you're facing this issue every day. How do you regulate your children? And the answer is you can over-regulate them, and then they grow up and they don't know how to make decisions. They don't know how to face the consequence of their decision. They don't know how to be responsible. Or you can under-regulate and take all kinds of risks, because the answer what children will do crazy stuff. I remember crazy stuff that I did as a child. It's a miracle that I'm still alive. So regulation will be done with a very, very a sense of nuance of not overdoing it, not underdoing it. But this argument that regulation will stifle innovation the answer is certain innovation, we want to stifle certain innovation. Innovation that's going to damage to society, okay? In the name of just the state should not get involved in the free market. Look where we are with climate change now. We have now passed through the worst summer in the history of Houston, and summer here was almost 5 months long. This is summer. It started from early May till mid-October. We had temperature of close to every day, close to 40 degrees, with humidity close to 100%. So we need to have a sense of balance. This is ancient wisdom, the golden path, the golden path.
Any other question? Okay, so thank you very much, Moshe. You didn't answer the question, but nevertheless, you gave us significant contribution. So let's move on to the next issue, and hope you can stay with us until the end.
Yeah, I will.
So the next question is, do large language models understand language, and can they be made reliable? The debaters will be Geoff Hinton and Gary Marcus. Geoffrey Hinton is an emeritus professor at the University of Toronto, and is a recipient of several awards, including the HKI Award for Research Excellence and the ACM Turing Award for his pioneering work on deep neural networks. And he gave me permission to show you a video. Let me find it. Need to share already? Yes, I need to share again.
So share screen.
Share screen again.
And then I would recommend you share the entire
Share
desktop.
desktop again.
Bottom
And two.
there, share.
Perfect. Okay, so let's go back here and add the link. Okay.
It starts from 156.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it's okay. It's what about the?
Oh, there's no audio.
No, there is an audio.
Yeah,
It doesn't go.
I think we are supposed to also share the audio from the Zoom.
Okay.
So if
Here,
I think so. Let's try that.
Technology will ruin the world.
no, it doesn't say.
Okay, so let me see. So can we do maybe through the share interface, as in also share the let's try to stop share this one.
Stop share.
And then if we do a new share, can we also share the audio? One moment, share sound,
Oh, okay.
and then we go share.
Fine. You want to, oh, no, sorry for that. Yeah.
Okay. Now we should find the
Video. Okay.
I would say let's video.
Yeah. Don't hear anything.
Yeah.
No. And this is-
I think perhaps we need to.
Can you do it,
so,
Joe?
so what I'll try to do is. Can you just keep the video playing so I can have some audio and see if I can. Okay. Apologies for this. We are.
The technology is not yet, as Moshe said, perfect.
So now I will try to see why it's not sharing the audio. So one thing you could try is I could have if I could have this link, I can try to share it from my laptop.
Okay. Yes. So share, we'll send it to you.
Mhm.
Email.
Yes.
Is.
Oh, it's just security everything. Yeah. Can I just type my email really?
Okay.
No, we can also.
Send.
And there's two main points that came up.
This is not correct. Oh,
1:16 should start. 1 minute 16 seconds.
I will do that. Let me just share my screen first.
Okay.
So, 156,
116.
116. One- 116.
Yes,
Here,
try.
116.
And give access. Okay, so we're able to hear Jeffrey's position on the issue of understanding language by large language models. The other debater in this issue will be Gary Marcus, who is a professor emeritus of psychology and neuroscience at the New York University and the founder of Geometric Intelligence, a machine learning company. Okay, in order to understand one of the examples that he will present into a European audience, I must tell you that Sarah Palin is a controversial former governor of Alaska. And so now we can start the video, Marcus. Right?
This one?
No,
This one?
Marcus.
Yeah.
Right.
Also share the Zoom. Very quiet, but I am full volume. Um, this is also full volume.
This is also cool.
Let's try to turn on subtitles. Oh, it doesn't do that. Okay, let's see if I can download it first. It's very fast. Very fast, not fast. I'll try to play it from my computer instead of online. I think it's the loudest can be.
But on here, I would be also able to hear. Yeah, I think it's like.
I think it's just a very it's just a very quiet video.
That's better.
Is it? All right. Definitely, okay. I called it.
Yeah, we cannot hear it at the back, so
Yeah.
maybe we can move to the next one.
So I think the problem is that the video is very quiet
Mhm.
because this is full volume.
Yeah,
It's all right, I think we should move to the next one, if possible, because we don't hear it at the back.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
that's a pity. The,
So what we can do is, for example, we can
Do we have a
summarize what
microphone?
the video says. We do not have a microphone available, sorry.
Yeah, I think maybe in DLC you can like amplify beyond the maximum volume, but it's a bit of googling to get it to work. So maybe-
Oh, yeah, we have to install VLC and these types of things, but
Is the sound coming out of the owl?
sorry.
Yeah,
The owl is a separate volume button as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's a button on the owl that you can try.
Okay, let's try that, and then perhaps we can, if it doesn't work, we can summarize what he says in the video. I think it's already full volume. Yeah.
well, I can repeat what he's saying, maybe.
Yeah, perhaps let's summarize it in.
Mhm.
Talk to you about why. Some years ago.
God would Second, there's a question?
Yeah, so I don't understand why do we have to always compare, I don't know, understanding with this type of mini puzzles. Let alone, I'm pretty sure if the algorithm would solve them, it would come up with new types of riddles to even harder ones. I mean, if I give these riddles to my 4-year-old son, I don't think he will be able to answer them. Is he a stochastic part also?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
to some degree, he is.
My take on this
But it's
is
the
that
same algorithm that will, grow, hopefully become another part of it. Yeah.
my take on this is that Jeff Hinton and Gary Marcus have a different way of interpreting the word understanding. So Hinton is saying the system are able to understand the meaning of words and sentences. Okay, that's it. Okay, while Marcus insisted that they should go beyond the meaning of individual sentences and be able to reason and make draw conclusion for those sentences. So probably it's true that we don't have that reasoning ability, but I think there is some evidence that at least some kind of an understanding of the meaning of the word and the sentence they are. I mean, at least that this is what Hinton says, and it's just going beyond assembling randomly or stochastically the words without understanding what their meaning is. This, I think, it's my take on what the two are saying. Okay, so maybe we should move on to the next topic. And so the next topic is. Sorry, there was.
Just before we do, just for your information, here on Zoom, we didn't get the sound of the recorded videos, or even in the previous part where you.
No, we didn't either. So it was too low.
But even when you summarized it, we had no sound. Just to let you know.
So what happened is that if we had two things unmuted at the same time, there was an echo, and I didn't want to disrupt the flow of the video while we were explaining it. So I prioritized the live audience here.
Okay.
So apologies about that, but we had audio problems.
So I'm sorry for the remote participants. Okay, so the next issue is whether we should regulate AI applications or AI corporations. So the debaters are Jacopo Pantaleoni and Brando Benifei. Jacopo Pantaleoni is a former NVIDIA principal scientist and is let's start with Brando Benifei actually, because Brando Benifei is a member of the European Parliament, a member of the Committee on Internal Market and Consumer Protection, Employment and Social Affairs and Constitutional Affairs. He is a member of the Special Committee on Artificial Intelligence in a Digital Age, and is a co-rapporteur of the European AI Act. So now we should be able to listen to his take on this issue.
Videos.
Should be fair.
Here?
Yes.
Right. Just share my screen once again.
Okay, so that was Brando Benifei. Okay, the debater on this subject, this topic, will be Jacopo Pantaleoni, who is a former NVIDIA principal scientist and is a recipient of 2 Test of Time awards for his work in computer graphics. At NVIDIA, he led the research in high throughput DNA sequencing and on the design of GPUs. He just published the book, The Quickest Revolution, which examines the societal issues stemming from the fast pace of technological development. So we'll have Jacopo, we can take the floor. And
thank you. It's a bit of repeated that I couldn't hear what my debater Brando had to say about this topic, but good afternoon, everybody. I'm very glad and honored to be here and to be given the opportunity to discuss whether we should regulate AI or AI corporations. And my answer to that is that we should absolutely regulate both. So there are many reasons for doing so, and I will try to highlight the most important ones in the next few minutes. So first of all, on one side, I think it's crucial that we regulate AI and AI applications because, as has already been said before, in the next few years, AI will become deeply entrenched with every aspect of our lives, every aspect of our public and private lives. And therefore, it may significantly alter our social fabric. In fact, we may say it has already done so through the advent of internet search and social media, for example, which were largely powered by machine learning algorithms since their inception. But of course, now, thanks to more recent advances, we are now seeing AI penetrate, expand into, and transform multiple other sectors. For example, from healthcare to finance, from illustration to advertisement, but also more sensitive sectors maybe in the future, like education, journalism already, and even our judiciary systems. For example, with delicate applications, delicate decision-making applications and credit scoring applications being increasingly offloaded to artificial intelligence. So now it has to be said on one side that private companies are doing an amazing job at overcoming the technical challenges involved in building these applications, and to some extent also solving societal problems like removing bias and making these applications more fair. But on the other hand, as Moshe has highlighted in his first talk, we should always remember that private companies at the very end are economic actors embedded in a highly competitive markets, and therefore they are, in the end, top priorities are driven and set by profit. So regulation like the European AI Act should be there, and thankfully it is partly already there, to make sure that communities like the EU can set guidelines and guardrails to develop these applications in a way that tries at least to cater to broad social welfare and respect the citizens' rights. For example, preventing or trying to prevent the spread of misinformation, or protecting the user's privacy, or forbidding applications of global surveillance. So this is something that is, at least in part, already being taken care of, at least in the EU. But at the same time, I believe it's crucially important for states, for individual states, and confederations of states like the EU and even the US to start realizing that there is an urgent need to regulate AI, the supersized corporations that currently are almost totally in charge and in control of developing the current and the next wave of largest models and the largest advances in this quickly evolving field. In fact, what many people do not realize is that right now, only a handful of mostly American corporations have the enormous financial means, the immense amounts of data, access to the enormous critical infrastructure, the enormous computing infrastructure, and the very, very deep know-how necessary to build and train these largest foundation models that will one day power most of future AI applications. To give you an idea, Amazon, one of the largest cloud providers, so one of the largest owners of this kind of infrastructure, in 2022 invested over $72 billion in R&D. And the staggering amount is more than what states like the UK or Italy could invest in research in the same year. Or again, OpenAI has already raised $10 billion in funding by Microsoft, and is now looking forward to a valuation of $90 billion. By comparison, the largest startups doing AI in the EU, for example, have only raised a few $100 million. So here you can see that there's already an imbalance of roughly 2 orders of magnitude. At the same time, several studies are pointing out that technological progress is fostering a widening economic gap. For example, leaving low-skilled workers behind in a gig economy that offers little worker protection and very often very low incomes. So what we are witnessing is a vast concentration of power. And of course, the attention to profit may not do much to reduce these trends. Therefore, if AI is the steam engine of our age, the steam engine of mental labor, of the future of mental work, and if it, on one side, it may allow simplifying our lives, and perhaps even in the next decades, reduce our need to work, we also need to start asking ourselves, what is the kind of future that we want to build with it? Who should be in control of it? And most importantly, who should benefit? Whether it should be just the top tier of society, or whether we should try to extend the benefits to all tiers of society. And so, given the wide implications, I believe it's crucial for our democracies that we start seeing AI increasingly as a public good, and therefore start regulating it as other public utilities have been regulated in the past. And with this message, I would like now to wrap up my statement. Of course, I think there is, to respond to the question that was raised to Moshe as well, there is much good that can come out of AI. Nobody doubts that. But the issue of regulation is one that should be looked through several lenses. And I believe we should not even debate whether we should regulate AI and its applications, or AI corporations. Rather, we should look very thoughtfully at how to regulate both. Again, in the latter case, to reduce concentration of power, which is something that has often happened in history when new innovations came about. The steam engine was, for example, one of the prime examples. So this being said, I want to thank you all for listening, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Yes, there's a question there.
I have one question and one observation. First of all, just imagine what was the regulation?
If you look at the history of the first industrial revolution, the first decades after the birth of the steam engine were very, very rough, especially in England. It took many decades to regulate the new type of work that emerged out of the birth of So it was very diverse. For example, if you look at laws in 1841, I remember, I don't remember the first date, the exact date, but I believe around 1841, there was one of the first regulations forbidding children to work, children below 8 to work in mines. This was something relevant to the steam engine because there were coal mines, and coal was
but that's the point I'm trying to make, that what you're saying is a regulation of basically exploitation, not technology. So I understand that you are to say, and in also all your example, you're discussing about the economic disparity.
I could
nothing, like, as far as I can see,
I could give you
tax, right? Like, it doesn't tax them. It doesn't, the rich don't pay enough. But again, I completely agree. But how is that related to AI?
Well, first of all, corporations should be taxed more, for example. That's an excellent example. But then again, I could give you other examples of how the antitrust broke many monopolies in the past, and it only did so after public pressure built up. Right? In the beginning, monopolies were often, especially in the US, allowed, or oligopolies allowed to form. But then after public pressure came sufficiently strong, they were broken up, for example, with Standard Oil or with the large telecom providers.
Okay, we need to move on, sorry, because we're late. So thank you very much to Jacopo Pantaleoni. And the next issue, and we are going to finish with this, is can models be controlled or guardrails incorporated in their training? The debater on this will be Joshua Benjo, who is a full professor at the University de Montreal, as well as the founder of the scientific director of MILA and the scientific director of IVADO. He is one of the recipients of the ACM Turek Award for his pioneering work. And in 2022, he became the most cited computer scientist in the world. He serves in various roles, including the United Nations Scientific Advisory Board for Independent Advice on Breakthrough in Science and Technology, and as a Canada CIFAR AI chair. So I will now share my screen to see. Are you
going to play the video?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that. Oh, but if you play the video from your screen, then it will have an echo.
No, not from the screen.
From your computer, then we will have an echo, I think. We will have to mute the online people.
No, you have to mute the local laptop, not the online people. You have to mute your laptop and just use HDMI to send the audio to the sound system.
Okay. What you can do is you can take over the HDMI
Okay.
so that you can perhaps.
Good.
After 3.5 years, we should know how to do hybrid. 3.5 years of pandemic, we need to know how to do hybrid by now.
Okay. So I have the okay, let me just run this. Okay.
Also, would you please share your screen and
It's going there.
as was expected.
There's a passage of increasing the uncertainties and Hello. I want to share my concerns about the increasing intellectual power of AI. There's a past trend of increasing AI capabilities, and it's likely to continue. And in fact, the work that my group has been doing on System 2 and reasoning suggests that this gap there, which I think exists, could be bridged soon, maybe in just coming years or much more. It's really difficult to say, but I'm worried about if it comes quickly. Now, to understand why we could have machines that are surpassing us in many ways, you first need to realize that the human brain is a machine. It's a biological machine. I know it's hard to digest that, but that's the scientific consensus, and it's probably not even the upper limit of intelligence. It's likely that there exists ways to be smarter, to solve problems better and faster. And in addition, digital computers have advantages over human brains because of the digital nature of computing, because they have hugely superior bandwidth and memory and access to data. So as we build gradually more and more powerful AI systems that increase capabilities can be both beneficial, and this is something I've worked on and has motivated me a lot, but it could also be dangerous if it's in the wrong hands, if it's misused, or if we lose control of such systems, either intentionally, some people actually want to build systems that have their own goals, that want to preserve themselves, just like our future generation of intelligences being non-human. And there are also people have studied a number of arguments suggesting that even if we didn't want to lose control, we might unintentionally, for example, because of reward hacking. So this last point is due to the very important problem of alignment, which is about making sure that AI behaves according to our intentions. And it sounds like it should be easy, but actually 10 years of research in alignment and even more work in economics, in the theory of contracts, suggests that it's actually very difficult, and it's not even clear that there exists a way to construct AI systems that behave as we intend, that we can control. So if either unintentionally or intentionally we lose control of AI systems that are superior to us in enough ways to be dangerous to us, then it would be like if there was a new intelligent species on this planet that could potentially dominate us. And this is not a future I want for me, for my children, my grandchildren. And when could that happen? Well, the experts disagree, or they agree that there's a wide range of possibilities. The winners of the Turing Award think it might be just a few years, or it could be a few decades. But what if it's just a few years, I think, or just even 10 years? I don't think society is ready for this. And as we build more and more intellectual power in these AI systems, I'm not just worried about the misuse for misuse, but what is that power going to be used for? And there's a good chance it's going to be used to concentrate power in the hands of a few humans. This is already something that is happening to some extent, but we could just have excessive concentration of power that could threaten democracy. Even if we solve the AI safety problem, there's still the danger that AI will enable, if you want, dominance of a few companies, a few people, a few countries. That could be really dangerous for humanity and democracy in particular. There's a lot of discussions around how gradually more powerful AI systems could be dangerous for disinformation, cybersecurity, chemical weapons, bioweapons that could be made easier to design with AI systems, population control with drones, face tracking, internet monitoring, and of course the military use of AI. And we can already buy AI systems on the dark web that have been, I don't know exactly, fine-tuned or jailbreaked so that the safety features would not be there and they could be used for fraud or disinformation and things like this. So this is happening, and it's going to get worse. In my testimony to the US Senate last July, I made 3 recommendations to try to mitigate those harms and risks. First, regulation. Second, research in AI safety. Third, countermeasures. So we need national and international regulation. So at the international level, it would be treaties to make sure that as many countries as possible follow protocols, reduce access to make sure people who can do something bad with AI are limited and they are trustworthy, they follow protocols. And we also have audits to make sure that they do. We need to also figure out what this, where this regulation puts the threshold of what is dangerous, what is not. And so that's why we need a second point, investment, major investment in AI safety research to better understand what can go wrong. And finally, because the regulation is not going to be 100% foolproof, it's likely that maybe in some countries or some organizations don't follow those rules. And we see the emergence of very dangerous AI systems, either misused or that we lost control of. And so we need plan B for this. We need to prepare for these kind of attacks on all those fronts that I talked about. I call that countermeasures. And I'll stop here and hope that this makes you think a little bit and take your time to try to digest all this, which is not easy and took me quite a bit of time.